Hello, my name is Jaroslav Hura. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for being a part of this conference. We are going to discuss possible methods of valuing startup, agenda, introduction, research and finding, methodology, result and discussion, conclusion. Introduction. With the startup concept we can meet today very often, their definitions and views of startup are more. According to European Private Equity and Venture Capital Association, startup is a company that is in the process of starting a business or shortly after starting a business but is not yet achieving sales. The very first stage of a company's life cycle can be considered a business idea. At this stage, the founders have not yet taken any steps to implement it. Later, when they start developing a product or analyzing the market, we move to the so-called niche phase. Startups are all the more important for economic growth because they create new jobs and introduce the latest technology. One of the most popular startup valuation methods used by angel investors angel investor points out that it is first necessary to determine the average valuation of startups in a given market area. Then, according to Forbes, it is possible to determine how startups compare to others in the same region by evaluating the following factors: management team strength, founding team. The value will vary dramatically depend on the background and experience of the founding team. Opportunity size, market size. You need to be interested in a pilot product. The larger the potential market, the better, especially if there are potential customers who are ready to buy. Product technology and competitive environment. Competition. Uh, Entering a market full of competition is a risk, and as a result, the price will fall. In the case of a startup entering the open market space without competition, it can get a much higher investment. Marketing, sales channels, partnerships, growth, and engagement. Ideally, it is necessary to prove that the user base is growing and that people are engaged. Need for additional investment and others. Like many methods, evaluating the factors is a very subjective process. Methodology, risk and uncertainty in business. In business, some risk is necessary. To be successful, entrepreneurs need to learn to accept risks that cannot be avoided and to mitigate risks that can be managed. The best guarantee against risk is a good core team, a business-friendly government, diversified marketing channels, and prudent financial management as well. Business success here not only in a on a market economy, but the goal of each individual or business entity is to satisfy their needs and maximize the benefits of each of their inputs. One way to define a company's performance is the company's ability to achieve the desired business results in the form of inputs that are consistent with the company's goals expressed in measurable unit. Measuring business performance, however, however, striving for the highest possible profit is also associated with higher risk and financial instability. Such a traditional approach to measuring performance, and it is used in financial decision making in the company, has been replaced in recent years by additional so-called modern approaches to performance measurement, which take into account several factors: result and discussion. Many things need to be taken into account, from the management team and market trends to product demand and related marketing risk. Startup valuation methods are particularly important as they are usually applied to startups that are currently in the pre-income stage. It is necessary to get acquainted with the popular methods of valuing startups, based on which it is possible to better understand how to evaluate a startup company without returns, and at the same time it will be possible to negotiate, for example, a better agreement with investors, for example, so before achieving returns. Methods. Verkos method. This method represents a simple estimate of the value of the startup, and part of it is used in technological startups. The method evaluates five critical aspects of startups, like concept, prototype, quality management, mergers, startup plan. Second method, scorecard valuation method. This is one of the most popular business valuation methods used by angel investors. It works when comparing a startup with other that already works, for example, and in which has already been invested. Venture capital methods. With this method, it is necessary to know the ratio of the share price to its returns in the sector in which the startup operates. The current value of the startup can be calculated as the final value, return on investment, the value of the investment. This method is very useful in examining the risk that need to be managed in order for a startup to be successful. Method of market valuation of human capital. Valuing a startup before starting operation is not an easy task for the investor, because most of them don't know the value of intangible assets Project can be awarded in two ways: get to know the team and their expertise, evaluation of the people how develop the project, or perform purely mathematically valuation based on the size of the market. The potential investor should calculate the value of the ideas, know-how, and human potential of the team. Asset-based valuation methods. The symbols valuation of a startup without income is an asset-based valuation. For this method, it is necessary to quantify the initial cost of the startup, the total value of tangible assets, any outstanding debt. Discussion. Key factors to consider during valuation before starting a business, before achieving revenue. There is a link between these three concepts. Number of users, it is necessary to prove to exist customer, the more the better. Marketing effectiveness, growth ration, and here is a link between these three concepts, as strong marketing strategy will lead to impressive growth. It is never possible to assume that the valuation is permanent. The startup will cost only as much as investors are willing to invest. Also, it is never possible to assume that valuation is direct. There is almost nothing direct in business. Conclusion: as a result of this pandemic, the global economy, as well as the economies of individual countries, will enter a recession. As mentioned in this article, supporting startups is very important because startups create new jobs, bring new innovation technologies, and thus contribute to economic growth. And many factors need to be taken into account, from the management team, the situation and trends in the markets, as well to the demand for the product itself, and of course the marketing risk. After evaluating all this, it is necessary to take into account that it is still only an estimate and the reality may be different. Thank you for your attention.